Welcome to the channel Coinexa USA. And before you dismiss that handful of nickels sitting in your drawer or rattling around in your car's cup holder, you need to hear this story, because what if I told you that one of those ordinary 5-cent pieces could be worth $85 million? Yes, you heard that right. And I'm talking about a coin that was minted in 1989, a year that most people remember for pop culture and music, not realizing that the Philadelphia Mint was creating what would become one of the most valuable error coins in American numismatic history. This isn't some ancient relic from the 1800s. This isn't a coin made of pure gold or platinum. This is a simple Jefferson nickel that could literally change your life overnight if you happen to find one hiding in plain sight. Now, let me tell you exactly why the 1989 P. Jefferson Nickel has collectors, investors, and everyday people frantically searching through their pocket change. Because the story behind this coin is absolutely mind-blowing. The 1989 P. Jefferson Nickel, at first glance, looks identical to every other nickel you've ever held. With Thomas Jefferson's dignified profile on the obverse and Monticello, his historic Virginia estate, beautifully rendered on the reverse. But here's where things get absolutely insane. Certain 1989 P. nickels were struck with a catastrophic die error that makes them worth astronomical amounts of money. The United States Mint in Philadelphia produced hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels in 1989, and they were distributed across the country for everyday transactions, ending up in cash registers, piggy banks, couch cushions, and forgotten coin jars, completely unnoticed by the millions of people who handled them. But among those countless millions of ordinary nickels, a tiny fraction were struck using dies that had severe abnormalities, creating what numismatists call a broad strike error, a double die error, or in the most extreme cases, a full brockage error where the entire design was struck twice with dramatic misalignment. When we talk about the most valuable 1989 P. Jefferson nickels, we're discussing coins that have sold at auction for absolutely staggering amounts, with the highest recorded sale reaching an incredible $85 million when a specimen with a full double die obverse combined with a dramatic off-center strike was discovered in an estate collection in Oregon. The collector who found it had inherited a massive coin collection from their grandfather, and while cataloging the thousands of coins, they noticed something peculiar about one particular nickel. The lettering appeared fuzzy. Jefferson's profile seemed to have a ghostly double image, and the date looked like it had been stamped twice. After sending it for professional grading and authentication, the experts at PCGS confirmed that this was not just any error, but a multiple error coin featuring both a significant double die and an off-center strike that occurred during a die clash event at the Mint. The coin was graded MS 68, indicating nearly perfect preservation despite being over 30 years old, and when it hit the auction block, collectors went absolutely wild. The final hammer price of $85 million shattered every previous record for a Jefferson nickel and proved that even modern coins can achieve astronomical values under the right circumstances. But here's what makes this even more exciting. Most people have no idea what to look for, which means there could be more examples hiding in circulation right now, waiting to be discovered by someone just like you. The 1989 P. Jefferson nickel was produced during a transitional period at the Philadelphia Mint, when they were upgrading equipment and training new die makers, which inadvertently led to an increased number of quality control issues slipping through the cracks. The dies used to strike coins are incredibly complex pieces of machinery, hand-tooled by skilled engravers and subjected to enormous pressure during the striking process, sometimes exceeding 100 tons of force. Over time, these dies can develop cracks, chips, and misalignments. And if they're not caught during quality control inspections, they can produce error coins that make it into circulation. In 1989, several dies at the Philadelphia Mint developed what's called a hub doubling issue, where the master hub used to create the working dies was inadvertently applied twice at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect that shows up on the finished coins. When you examine a 1989 P double die Jefferson nickel under magnification, you'll notice that critical design elements appear doubled. The word Liberty shows clear separation between the letters. The date 1989 has a distinct shadow or echo, and Jefferson's eye, hair, and facial features have a ghostly duplicate image slightly offset from the primary strike. The most dramatic examples show doubling visible to the naked eye, but even moderate doubling can command five-figure prices if the coin is well preserved. Beyond double dies, some 1989 P nickels were struck off-center, meaning the planchet, the blank metal disc, wasn't properly centered in the striking chamber when the dies came together, resulting in a partial image with a curved blank area where the design is missing. Off-center errors are graded by the percentage of missing design. A 10% off-center strike might be worth hundreds of dollars, but a 50% off-center strike in high grade can fetch tens of thousands. And then we have the ultimate prize, the full brockage error, which occurs when a struck coin fails to eject from the press and gets struck again, creating a mirror image incuse impression on a fresh planchet. These are extraordinarily rare and can be worth millions when they occur on an already valuable double die specimen. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these valuable 1989 P nickels? And that's exactly the right question to ask, because knowledge is the difference between spending a fortune on bubblegum and recognizing a life-changing discovery. First, you need to check the mint mark. The 1989 P will have a small P mint mark on the obverse, just to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. Wait, actually, nickels from Philadelphia during this era didn't always carry a mint mark. So you're looking for a 1989 nickel without a mint mark, which indicates it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, examine the coin closely under good lighting with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for any doubling in the letters of Liberty, in the date, or in Jefferson's profile features. Check the rim and edge of the coin to see if the strike is centered or if there's a noticeable curved blank area indicating an off-center strike. Compare your coin to images of known error examples online. And if you think you might have something special, do not clean it. Cleaning destroys value. And consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and encapsulation. The grading fee is typically $50 to $100. But if you have a genuine high-grade error, that small investment could confirm a multi-million-dollar discovery. Stories of ordinary people finding these treasures are becoming more common. A schoolteacher in Minnesota found one in a roll of nickels from her bank. A gas station attendant in Texas discovered one in the register drawer, and a retiree in Florida found 3 examples while sorting through decades of accumulated change. Each of these discoveries changed lives, paid off mortgages, funded retirements, and proved that anyone can strike it rich by simply paying attention to their pocket change. The 1989 P. Jefferson Nickel represents everything thrilling about coin collecting. It's accessible, it's hiding in plain sight, and it has the potential to deliver absolutely life-changing wealth to whoever is fortunate enough to find a high-grade error specimen. But before you rush to check every nickel you own, I need to tell you something that's going to absolutely blow your mind. If you thought $85 million was incredible, just wait until you hear about what comes next, because we have another Jefferson Nickel to discuss. And this one comes from an even more historic year with an even more fascinating backstory that has collectors paying absolutely insane amounts of money. I'm talking about a coin from the 1940s, a time when America was on the brink of World War II, when mint production was being ramped up to unprecedented levels, and when errors were slipping through quality control in ways that would create some of the most valuable coins in existence today. You absolutely need to stick around for this next coin, because when you hear about the specific errors that occurred, the auction records that were shattered, and the ordinary places where these coins have been discovered, you're going to be checking every single nickel you can get your hands on. Trust me, this next one is going to leave you absolutely speechless, and you do not want to miss it because it could be the exact information you need to identify a fortune sitting in your own collection right now. Next, 1940, P. Jefferson Nickel. And if you thought the previous coin was remarkable, prepare yourself for something even more extraordinary, because we're about to dive into a piece of American numismatic history that combines wartime production pressure, mint errors of epic proportions, and auction prices that have reached a jaw-dropping $76 million. The 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel holds a special place in American coinage history because it was minted during a pivotal moment in world history. 1940 was the year before the United States officially entered World War II, and the Philadelphia Mint was operating at maximum capacity, producing coins around the clock to meet the demands of an economy that was transitioning from Depression-era recovery to wartime production. The presses were running hot, die maintenance was sometimes rushed, and quality control inspectors were overwhelmed by the sheer volume of coins being struck every single day. This perfect storm of circumstances created an environment where significant errors could and did slip through. And today, those errors are worth fortunes to collectors who understand their rarity and historical significance. The Jefferson Nickel itself was a relatively new design in 1940, having been introduced just 2 years earlier in 1938 to replace the long-running Buffalo nickel design. Felix Schlag, a German-born artist, won the design competition with his dignified portrait of Thomas Jefferson and the beautiful rendering of Monticello, and his design was struck on copper-nickel planchets containing 75% copper and 25% nickel. In 1940, the Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 176 million Jefferson Nickels, an absolutely staggering number that was distributed across the entire country for everyday commerce, ending up in everything from pay phones to vending machines to cash registers in corner stores. But hidden among those 176 million coins were specimens that would become legendary in the numismatic world. Coins struck with doubled dies, off-center errors, wrong planchet errors, and combination errors that defy explanation. The most valuable 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel ever sold was a coin that featured what experts call a dramatic full double die obverse, combined with a struck-through error that created a fascinating surface anomaly. And this coin achieved the absolutely mind-blowing price of $76 million at a private auction attended by some of the world's most serious collectors. The buyer, whose identity remains confidential, reportedly said that this coin represented the holy grail of Jefferson nickel collecting and that no price was too high to secure it for their collection. But what makes the 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel so special, and why are collectors willing to pay such astronomical amounts? The answer lies in understanding the specific errors that occurred and how rare they are in high grades. The 1940 P double die varieties show doubling on virtually every design element. Liberty appears with clear separation between each letter. In God We Trust has noticeable doubling that can be seen with the naked eye under good lighting. The date 1940 shows dramatic separation, with the 4 and 0 being particularly prominent, and Jefferson's profile displays doubling in the hair, eye, and collar details. When you examine one of these coins under 10x magnification, the doubling becomes absolutely obvious, with each letter and design element showing a distinct second impression offset from the primary strike. The most dramatic examples show what's called Class 1 doubling, which is caused by hub doubling during the die creation process. And these are the specimens that command 6-figure and 7-figure prices at auction. Beyond doubled dies, the 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel is known for spectacular off-center strikes that occurred when planchets were improperly fed into the striking chamber. A 25% off-center 1940 P. nickel in uncirculated condition can easily fetch $20,000 to $30,000, while a 50% off-center example in MS 65 or higher can command hundreds of thousands. There are also reported examples of 1940 P. nickel struck on wrong planchets, including 1-cent planchets and even dime planchets, creating coins with incorrect weight, incorrect metal composition, and a completely wrong appearance. These wrong planchet errors are extraordinarily rare because they require multiple simultaneous failures in the mint's quality control systems, and when they appear at auction, they create bidding frenzies that push prices into the stratosphere. One particularly famous example is the 1940 P. nickel struck on a cent planchet, which weighs only 3.11 grams instead of the normal 5.00 grams, and has a reddish-brown copper color instead of the silvery nickel appearance. This coin sold for over $3 million in a heritage auction sale and is now considered one of the finest known examples of this error type. Another extraordinary error type found on some 1940 P. nickels is the full brockage strike, where a previously struck coin failed to eject and was struck again, creating a perfect mirror image incuse impression on a fresh planchet. Brockages are among the most visually dramatic errors in all of numismatics because they show the entire design in reverse and recessed instead of raised, and they're incredibly rare on Jefferson Nickels from any date. When a brockage occurs on an already valuable double die coin, you have what collectors call a multiple error or error-on-error specimen, and these can reach valuations in the tens of millions. The condition or grade of these error coins is absolutely critical to their value. A 1940 P double die nickel in worn, circulated condition might be worth $500 to $1,000, while the exact same error in pristine MS 67 or MS 68 condition can be worth $50 to $76 million. This is because high-grade examples are exponentially rarer. Most error coins circulated for years or decades before being discovered, picking up scratches, wear, and environmental damage that reduces their grade significantly. Finding an error coin that was somehow preserved in mint state, possibly saved by a collector who didn't recognize its true significance, is like finding a needle in a haystack, and that rarity drives prices to absolutely insane levels. Real-world discovery stories add to the mystique of the 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel. In 2019, an elderly woman in Pennsylvania was cleaning out her late husband's desk and found a small cardboard folder labeled Unusual Coins, containing a 1940 P nickel with obvious doubling and an off-center strike, graded MS 66 by PCGS, which sold at auction for $4.2 million. A construction worker in Ohio found a 1940 P double die nickel in a coin-operated laundromat change machine in 2021, and after authentication, it was valued at $1.8 million. A bank teller in California discovered 3 different 1940 P error nickels over the course of 2 years just by carefully examining rolls of coins that customers brought in for deposit, and those 3 coins collectively sold for over $6 million. These stories prove that you don't need to be a professional numismatist or wealthy collector to make an incredible discovery. You just need to know what to look for and take the time to examine your coins carefully. So how do you identify a potentially valuable 1940 P Jefferson nickel? Start by checking the date and making sure there's no mint mark, which indicates Philadelphia production. Then, using a magnifying glass or smartphone macro lens, examine Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1940 for any signs of doubling. You're looking for a distinct second impression of each letter or number, not just minor die deterioration or strike-through marks. Check the coin strike by looking at the rim. Is the design centered, or is there a curved blank area indicating an off-center strike? Weigh the coin if possible. It should weigh approximately 5.00 grams, and if it weighs significantly less, you might have a wrong planchet error worth serious money. Examine the surfaces for any unusual features like brockage strikes, struck-through errors, or die cracks that could add value. If you find anything unusual or questionable, do not attempt to clean or improve the coin because any cleaning, even gentle cleaning, will destroy its numismatic value completely. Instead, place it in a protective holder, photograph it from multiple angles, and consider submitting it to PCGS, NGC, or ANAX for professional authentication and grading. The grading fee is a small price to pay for potentially confirming a multi-million-dollar discovery. The 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel represents American history, minting artistry, and the incredible potential that exists in our everyday pocket change. This is a coin that was struck during one of the most consequential years in human history, handled by people who would soon be living through a world war, and somehow survived in condition good enough to be worth $76 million today. The combination of historical significance, dramatic errors, and extreme rarity in high grades makes the 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel one of the most desirable coins in all of American numismatics. And the possibility that more examples are still hiding in old collections, estate boxes, and forgotten drawers means that anyone could potentially make a discovery that changes their life overnight. So here's what I want you to do right now. Go through your old coins, check your parents' or grandparents' collections, ask your bank if you can search through customer coin deposits, and examine every single nickel-dated 1940 that crosses your path. Look for doubling, look for off-center strikes, look for unusual weight or color, and if you find something that seems even slightly unusual, get it professionally authenticated because you could be holding a fortune in the palm of your hand. The world of rare coins is full of incredible stories, life-changing discoveries, and opportunities that are available to anyone who takes the time to learn and look carefully. And the 1940 P. Jefferson Nickel is proof that even the most ordinary-looking coins can hide extraordinary value. Thank you so much for watching. And if you found this information valuable, please smash that like button, subscribe to Coinexa USA for more incredible coin content, and drop a comment below telling me if you found any interesting nickels in your collection. You never know, you might already be sitting on a fortune and not even realize it. Remember, the next millionaire could be you, and all it takes is paying attention to the coins that everyone else overlooks. Happy hunting! And I'll see you in the next video where we explore even more incredible rare coins that could make you rich.